Morning, fellas. How's everybody doing? Hey, real quick housekeeping. Just a couple of items to cover. Watching the big shop again, we had Point View in here this week and putting stuff in front of the electrical panels. I know it's not that big of a deal, something's got to be moved, but that's what the code tells us to do. It's not just Point View's wishes. Try to make sure that we keep things out from in front of the electrical panel. That'd be the first item on the housekeeping agenda. Shop's starting to look like it needs a little attention, but I know you guys will get on it just as soon as you can. The grease pit area needs a little bit of attention if we get some discretionary time. There's some aerosol cans, gloves, rags, pallets, any number of items over there, and it needs to be tidied up. Just continue to remember that, you know, if we keep it up a little bit at a time, fellas, it doesn't become a big issue to us. It's something that will never overcome us, and we won't have to shut down any work to do because we just do it as we go along. So remember about housekeeping. The two skids will crank up a little bit at some point. We'll have more clients coming in the yard. Again, that's not the issue we need to be doing it for. We need to be doing it for ourselves. We're removing hazards when we keep the yard up and keep the shops up. That's what it's all about. Reporting. I want to talk just a little bit about reporting. Brought up at the beginning of the year, near-miss reporting. There's too many instances where something happened yesterday and something that happened needed to be reported. And when I talk about reporting, I'm not talking about you telling somebody and they tell somebody else. I'm talking about officially reporting, fellas. You know how it's done. Tell a supervisor. A supervisor's supposed to report it after they're told about it. Tell a supervisor. These are all things that we pick apart and we look at trying to do a process different. We look at trying to put something into place to keep us from getting there next time. So it's important to us. It's important that everybody on this yard hears about incidents, hears about near misses that we've had. These are potential accidents and potential harm to someone, and it's not anything that we just keep in our back pocket till it's convenient to let somebody know. These are things that we report, and we formally report. That's a standard in the safety management system. That's part of doing our job. I'm not asking you to do anything that John Ketchatorin and John Greaves and everybody else in this organization wants you to do. We haven't seen hardly any near-miss reporting this year. Some of it, we just happened to be in the area when it happened. These reports aren't to get anybody in trouble, fellas. That's not the purpose. Although depending on what the infraction is, you may have a little trouble coming to you. Depends on what took place. But when we hear things about passing too close to loads, when we hear things about somebody came into the area while we were doing things, in most cases, in a lot of cases, it was something that we could have done to prevent that. So we wind up getting into a crusty situation where we've got to jump through hoops to try and make it work now. If we secure the area we're working in and we do everything we need to, we should be in a good place. It's when something happens and we were doing everything we could do that we have to get involved. There's a lot of traffic on this yard. There's a lot of movement on this yard, so make sure when you're doing what you're doing that we put everything in place that we need to keep us secure, to keep other people out of the area, to do what we need to do. But when we have an unplanned event, when we have a near miss, when we have an adverse effect, in spite of the fact in some cases that we didn't damage any equipment and no one got hurt, it's a learning for us, fellas. So we need to know about it. And a lot of times finding out about it 2 weeks later just doesn't do us any good. So communicate with supervision. Come get us. And we'll document it and we'll see what we need to do. We, as of yesterday, have ordered a bunch more smaller cones. We've got a situation with the crane radius and the crane swing. These are things that we learn from, and these are things that make us better. But if nobody mentions them and we don't hear about it, we don't have that opportunity. So please, take the opportunity when we can make something better or improve the process over here, especially if we can make it safer. let your supervisor know about it, he'll let us know about it. Or let us know about it, we'll put something into place. Communication is the key. We talk about it all the time. So if you communicate with somebody and you don't see any action, maybe you didn't communicate with the right person. On some days, some supervisors have a lot on their plate. So if you think there's some action that needs to take place and you had a conversation about it and it didn't happen, no offense to anybody, come find somebody else. Come to the HSE department. Again, a lot of times the schedule, bottom feeders, the BB-10,000 has been shut down with a little incident. There have been some things over here that have been on a short fuse. So if you think something needs to be corrected and you've talked to somebody and it hadn't gotten corrected, you need to go elsewhere. And that's not saying somebody's not doing their job, just on any given day, you can get pulled in 20 different directions. So the level of importance to somebody else and to me might be different. Y'all got that? Good job, 6 months of the year. First stage, fellas. That's it, first stage. I walked back through last year, we were way deep. First stage was way above us last year at this time. We were into all kind of injuries and we were already into all kind of lost time. Excellent job, keep up the good work. On that level, communication is there. On that level, I know on a daily basis we're stopping one another from doing things that'll get us into trouble. Continue to do that. We might be at the end of this year having this same conversation, fellas. That'd be a wonderful thing to get through a whole year with no lost time. So keep up the good work. But let us know when something has the potential to cause us some harm over here and cause us some grief. And if there's anything we can do about it, it's our job to do it. What y'all got, fellas? Truck driver. And it's easy to do. Been a couple of truck drivers left alone to their own devices, and they're truck drivers and they should know what they're doing. That's not what our policy says. Our policy says we won't leave them alone. So if they've been left alone, we're not following our policy. Let's try and adhere to what we say we're going to do. We say we're going to do it, we need to do it. Who else? Y'all have a good day, fellas.